Oh, you think you got away?
Tonight's episode takes us into one of the most heartbreaking, disturbing true crime cases in modern history. In June of 2001, a quiet suburban home in Houston, Texas became the scene of a tragedy that shocked the entire nation. A mother of five would do the unthinkable. And the question that followed was no one could ever easily answer. Was she a monster? A woman suffering from a severe mental illness?
We're talking about the case of Andrea Yates, a woman who, on the morning of June 20th, 2001, drowned all five of her young children in the bathtub of their family home.
The story quickly made headlines around the world, but as investigators and doctors began looking deeper into Andrea's life, they discovered a long history of postpartum depression, psychosis, and warnings from doctors that something like this could happen if she didn't receive the right care.
Tonight, we're diving into the full story, the events leading up to that morning, the mental health struggles that were unfolding behind closed doors, the controversial trial that followed, and the national debate about mental illness that this case sparked.
Because the story of Andrea Yates isn't just about a crime, it's about warning signs, missed opportunities, and a tragedy that left five innocent lives lost.
And it remains one of the most complex and debated cases in true crime history.
This is Harlots of Spooktalk.
Content advisory. The episode contains discussion of child death, mental illness, and mature themes that may be disturbing for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. The content is intended for entertainment purposes only. Any true crime information discussed in this episode is publicly available information. With the National Aeronautics Astronautics and Space. So NASA. He worked at NASA. Okay.
Something to do with space and aliens and spaceships.
Aeronautics. Yeah, that's a different word for me.
Space.
Hopefully
Just
that doesn't come
NASA.
up on our shorts.
Just NASA. NASA for sure.
So he worked there at NASA, and Andrea continued to work as a nurse until she had her first child, Noah Jack, in 1994. So the couple lived in a house in Houston until 1993, and they lived in a travel trailer and bus. So Yates bore 4 other children and had 1 miscarriage. She reportedly became increasingly reclusive and overly religious while she homeschooled her children. Her husband subscribed to a fundamentalist philosophy of marriage, insisted that his wife defer to him, give up her job, not use birth control. The couple believed that a woman's children would go to hell for her sins if she did not repent. And yeah. Ding, 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 ding. So, and Yates was consumed with guilt for her inability to deal with her struggles with mental illness. The family did not have babysitters. Rusty Yates, who later admitted that he was never changed a diaper for any of his children, left all childcare to his wife.
Yeah, that's effed up, man. Like,
That is.
That's what I was trying to explain. I'm like, no, I blame him.
I mean, but some people back in the day, that's how they.
Yeah,
did
like
things.
it's like a traditional way of living.
And
quote,
some
quote.
people still like
I-
to do that traditional thing of, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's day and age too. So come on.
yeah. So, yeah, it's just wild.
It is. Oh. Tiffany's going to do the criminal career.
I'm sorry, I was like,
You're good. That's what I was like.
I thought she was still going.
No, I was like, and you.
And that's what I was like.
I thought she was still going, so I was like, ooh, okay, so what's next?
You.
So during the course of their marriage, Yates was treated for her deteriorating mental state. After the birth of her first child, she reported seeing Satan and images of death. She became increasingly thin, evasive, detached, isolated, and consumed with religious righteousness. She attempted suicide during depressive episodes. She first attempted on June 17th of 1999 by overdosing on pills. She was treated in a psychiatric unit and was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And then she was released with a prescription for antidepressants, but she did not take the medication. So I'm going to pause there because that's her own fault for not taking the medication. Anyways,
Oh. Anyways,
yes.
continue. We'll get into that later.
So Yates stopped feeding her children and began to report hallucinations to her husband. She later threatened to slit her own throat with a knife and was hospitalized after going into a catatonic state. I don't know what that means. Don't come for me. While there, she was successfully treated with antipsychotic medication and therapy for postpartum depression. Before she was released from the hospital, doctors warned her that having more children could put her health at risk. So they told her that.
Mm-hmm.
As she cared for her 4 children in the family bus, she became increasingly obsessed with fundamentalist Christian teachings. We'll have to get into that later. I don't know what that is.
Traditional. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the urging of his wife's family, Rusty Yates purchased a home in late 1999. Yates' mental state appeared to improve dramatically. However, in March 2000, she stopped taking her medication again because she was pregnant again. Which, can't they keep you on some medicines while you're pregnant?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if they did back in the day. I know they can now.
Well, true. 4 months after the birth of her daughter, Yates's father died, suddenly sending her into a deep depression. She mutilated herself, lost her appetite, stopped caring for her children, and refused to speak to her family. After 2 more brief hospitalizations and treatment with antipsychotic medications, Yates was again released. 2 days after a meeting with her psychiatrist, she took her children one by one to her bathroom where she drowned them. She then laid them out on her bed. Her 4 sons and 1 daughter. Should we say the names?
Yes, you can say the names.
Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and Mary were aged from 6 months to 7 years. Yates then calmly called police to request an officer and then called her husband and told him to come home.
Wow. That's really...
But
you see my point,
the signs were missed. There were so many. And
Red
even by the
flag.
doctor. Yes.
Yeah. And then the legal action and outcome. Yates was charged with 5 counts of capital murder for the drowning of her children. She gave a detailed confession to the police saying that her children to save them from hell. During her 17-day trial, numerous psychiatrists testified that Yates was not competent, was mentally defective, and was in psychotic state when her children. California psychiatrist Patrick Dietz, a prosecution witness, testified that Yates was mimicking an episode of the television series Law and Order. during which a woman was acquitted of killing her children by them.
Mm-hmm.
Yates was convicted of capital murder on March 12, 2002, for the unalivings of 3 of her children, but was spared the death penalty. Instead, she was sentenced to life in prison on March 15th. Americans were torn over the verdict, with many arguing for treatment for a mental illness instead. In early 2005, the Texas Court of Appeals reversed Yates' conviction after finding that Dietz' testimony about the Law and Order episode was factually incorrect. No
Mm-hmm.
such episode was ever aired. The appeals courts found that Dietz' testimony might have influenced the jury. A new trial was ordered. On January 9th, 2006, Yates pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity to the murder charges. On July 26th, a jury of 6 men and 6 women found her not guilty by reason of insanity. Yates underwent several months of evaluation prior to being assigned to Carnville State Hospital, a mental health facility for treatment in January 2007. Yates has been eligible for annual competency reviews to determine if she can leave the state hospital. Her attorney said in 2022 that she waived every hearing.
Yeah. And fun fact, so she pled the defense of insanity that was like part of, it was called the McNaughton rule. And so it was a legal test defining the defense of insanity that was formulated by the House of Lords in 1843. So it was established standard in UK criminal law, and then versions have been adopted in some US states. So that's where the insanity plea, whatever. Okay.
Comes from.
I was
Yeah.
just kind of reading back over this. Yates has been eligible for annual competency reviews to determine if she can leave Kerrville State Hospital. Her attorney said in 2022 that she waived every hearing. So
Yeah.
did that mean that she didn't go?
Yeah, she denied it.
Yeah, she didn't want to go to
Yeah.
the competency hearing.
Yeah, she wanted to stay, which I kind of understand because like she knew she's
Mentally.
sick. Like,
Yeah.
she wanted help.
Well, why would she want to go back out there
Well, yeah, that too.
after that happened over this years and it's been like so public, you know?
And the thought of losing 5 of your children,
Mm-hmm.
like no.
And then you're gonna get reminded about it constantly, and so it's like she's better off just staying there. Which I'm not trying to be rude and say that, but I mean,
No, she's better off.
Because she wanted the help, but everybody overlooked it.
She tried.
And she tried. So it's like, this was, I guess, what she thought was her last option to get the help she needed, which I don't understand why you would do that extent. But then again, if you're asking for so long for help,
and it's unheard,
that, and it's overseen, and then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you think she is the villain in all of it, Yes, but also
She's not the only one.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying. She still did the action. She still did the murder. She did the crime.
She knew what she was doing because
did.
she admitted to it. I get that, yes, but she was not in a clear state of mind, for one. And if your doctor told your husband she cannot be left alone with the kids by herself,
Yep. And
he wanted to start doing that. I'm sorry, I read it. He's just said he wanted to start doing that for like an hour in the morning, an hour at night, to see if she could handle it by herself. And I'm like, you don't do that without the doctor's
Right, exactly. So the Yates case was polarized, one for many Americans, and brought the discussion of homeschooling, the isolation of mental ill women, the role of fundamentalist Christian, and the tragic deaths of the children into public forum, which is what we are discussing. So, some, including many feminists, characterized Rusty Yates as an abuser for quote unquote forcing his wife to continue to have children despite warnings from medical professionals. Rusty was also vilified by public opinion, as many considered him as an accessory to his children's death. Now, others were shocked that a mother could bring such a lethal harm to her own children, which is why we're so baffled right now. Rusty, in turn, blamed the deaths of his children on poor medical care of the Yates and on insurance company. He supported his wife throughout her trials, but maintained that her sanity case was built on lies, quote unquote. Yates' family blamed Rusty for her mental deterioration and called him insensitive and apathetic. They supported charges of neglect, homicide, and child endangerment. Excuse me, being brought against Rusty, but prosecutors never pursued these charges. Rusty divorced Andrea in March 2005, and he remarried March 2006, so like a whole year later. What an idiot.
What an ass. I'm going to say it.
And,
What an ass.
and had another kid.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I see. No, he should have known. Even though he was like trying to help, he wasn't helping in every single way which possible. You know, at some point, you have to say your mental health is more important than having another child. You know what I mean? You can't be going through that mentally and then, like, labor, delivery, children, that puts a lot on your body already. Like, it is a blessing that you get to do that, right? But when you cannot do it no more, stop. Like, I never understood how somebody could have, like, and this is just me personally, 17 kids. Are you kidding me? Personally, I would have liked to have like 6, 7, 8, 9 boys, you know, but like, I don't know. Mentally, I probably couldn't have done it. I think I would have stopped at 3.
She wanted a whole basketball team.
I wanted a whole. I definitely wanted a basketball team. Spurs. Just saying. So, but the point is, and this, I'm not going to try and go on a tangent on Texas and mental health, but fuck it. Like,
It's not
maybe
just Texas.
Maybe it's
It's
just
all over.
The mental health in the U.S. is trash. You know what I mean?
It is. It's overlooked in so many ways. And yeah, they're slowly trying to get it
Are they though?
more out there. I mean, a lot of people do try
They
to
do.
vocalize and stuff for mental health because it's something that needs to be brought up and brought to someone's attention.
So it's like everybody wants to point a finger.
Yeah.
You know, it always comes down to state, you know, federal. They always need someone to blame. It doesn't matter what's happening in any crime, mental, anything. Someone's got to be blamed. And honestly, like, this is an everybody problem. She shouldn't have done what she done. The pastor shouldn't have pushed. Her husband shouldn't have pushed. She should have stuck up for herself. They should have stuck up for her. Her husband should have been an advocate to not only assist with, like, the pills. You know, the pills is not going to just... You can't just take a pill and everything's going to be better. That's not how it works. And unfortunately, in our society, everybody wants a quick fix. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying?
It's like we went from the dark ages to women getting imprisoned in mental institutions by speaking our minds to nowadays we're overlooked. It's like, why didn't we go to a happy medium? We didn't. We went from one extreme to the next extreme, it seems.
Exactly.
Because we're women, there is no in
Yeah.
between.
I cannot tell you
I
how
know.
like this subject pisses me off. You know, I'm not a feminist, but I think by the time I'm really retired, I'm definitely probably going to be a feminist because I'm like, it's all jacked up. It's all of it's jacked up. But mental illness doesn't really have to do just with women. But this topic is, you know, she was pregnant, pregnancy after pregnancy, suffered a loss. You know, your hormones go through a lot, your body goes through a lot. And he was not an advocate. He just wanted a quick fix. This is just my opinion. And he didn't help. Change a gosh darn diaper every once in a while, you freaking retard. That was a rude word. That was a hard
And
R.
yeah, and then we're gonna skip over that one. But then
Oh.
yet again, it comes down to therapy and medicine got to be combined to
Mhm.
actually work. One will not work without the other, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to put the work in, but everybody around you got to be willing also to see there is a problem and not put all the stressors back on you as you're trying to do your mental health. And as fathers
Right.
and mothers all out there, we can help each other. Just a little bit goes a long way. But for him never to change a diaper kind of got to me because I live in a pretty traditional marriage.
Yeah.
I stay home with the kids right now. I still work, but it's not as major as he does. But he still changed diapers. I'd be damned if I did all that by myself when
That's
he's
what I'm
home.
saying. The
I'd be
first 2
damned.
weeks of each of my sons, like their dad took care of the diapers. You know, that was the rule. Although my second baby daddy, if you are listening, yeah, you only did it for a week, and I'm gonna call you out on your shit. But you
Hey,
know, they when they had them, they would change the diapers. You're not
yeah.
gonna get away with that shit, literally.
Like I said, I live pretty traditionally, but my husband still does the wash once in a while, still does the dishes when he's home. Remember, he's barely here, so he still chips in with the housework because he knows taking care of the kids is a lot. It's a lot
You know, when
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
you, it's crazy to me. Like even like in single households, like you still have to have someone's support, you know, mentally, you know. Tiff is like my baby daddy pretty much, you know. I'm like, I'm having a bad day, so I have someone I can talk to, you know what I mean? But I'm like, damn, can you imagine being in a marriage where you're not being heard, you know,
Or
and then
seen
you think that the last resort for you,
Is
I
to do
mean,
something that drastic.
drastic. Or being
yeah,
in a marriage, which is all you're good for is laying under
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
somebody and cleaning a house.
And my whole thing is though, like, why the kids?
Well, she was very deep in religion,
She thought
and
the kids
so
would pay
sorry,
for her she thought the kids would pay for her sins.
yeah, that was her mentality.
I see, and that would have been great if we could study these people's brains and how they think.
Well, it says here in March 2000, she stopped taking her medication because she got pregnant. 4 months after the birth of her daughter, Yates' father, her died,
Passed away,
Yes.
and
passed away. So now you got two griefs, right? So she's probably in her head. She's sending sending her into a deep depression. She mutilated herself, lost her appetite, stopped caring her for children, and refused to speak to her family. So picture like you're not getting any nutrition, you're not getting the sleep, you're not getting anything you need. You are definitely not in your right mind. You're already having postpartum depression. So you're like way deep under, and now you're in a disassociation. What goes on people's minds during that time, you never know. You know what I mean? You never know. You don't know her thought process. You don't know how fast her brain is moving. And that's what it is. Nobody will ever know her thought process except for her, you know.
And she had a history of bulimia and
Yeah.
depression.
not having somebody there that actually cares and wants to see you like do better I think that got to her too, because, like,
Well, and then she went, they put her back in treatment with antipsychotics. So, and those don't always work. Sometimes it takes some time. You got to be really careful with those dosage. Then they released her after the 2 days, or sorry, they released her and then she went and met with her psychiatrist. So probably aftercare, right? And then that's when she took her children one by one. So, and I'm not saying it was a psychiatrist's fault. I don't know where they're at, but I know at one point there was diaries and diaries of it online.
yeah, it's baffling.
Yeah. So, but I hope that everybody, if you need help, you can reach out. If you need extra help, there's a suicide line below in the comment or the description box we'll put here. And, anyways, stay safe.
Blessed be, and remember, treat each other with some type of respect out there.
Bye.
Bye.